Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. We are finally back. The next chapter has released. We had our lovely break and we are straight back into this weird Elbaf journey. Not the start I was expecting, but certainly one that has piqued a lot of interest because the last chapter we were all up in the air. There was a lot of like little mistakes and changes that had been made. So were we on the lines of that like hallucination that they were all having because of the beer and the drink and the absence, or was it something completely different because they were in this sort of very new environment, having just been kidnapped or vanished from the Sunny itself. So who knows what we are going to discuss this chapter, but I am certainly excited to get into it as always. So, without further ado, chapter 1128. We are certainly getting there now. This one is titled RPG. So, lovely roleplay game. We like this. We love RPGs. One of my favourite video game genres, so I would love a really cool One Piece RPG, like a proper one. But nevertheless, I digress. Last we had left off, as I have just said, they were on their way to Elbaf, all of the Straw Hats and the giant warrior pirates, and within 2 days of travel, the Sunny and all of the youngsters of the crew had vanished. So all of the younger ones of the Straw Hats, so Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, and Chopper, have gone missing. And we see they have awoken in this like Lego brick castle. And we find that there are animals much bigger than the Straw Hats. And it divulges, and in retrospect we see that Luffy, Zoro and Sanji are not fazed by any of this and come to Nami and Usopp's rescue, dealing a fatal, quite quick blow to this giant cat slash lion transformation it did. But pretty quickly were happy they just dealt with a rabbit that was like an ear god that the villagers were talking about, and they were ready to find out where they were. So we pick up where Sanji had like rescued Nami and he's got her in his arms, and then he goes, yeah, no, there's too many dudes here, this definitely isn't a dream. So I like that we've cut to the chase and Sanji's gone, yeah, we're not dreaming, guys, because well, you're here is the problem, so it's definitely not a dream I'd have. And Nami's like, what dreams do you have? Like, ugh. So he skywalks up into the sky. He like jumps up and sort of gets like a lay of the land type of thing. He's like, let's fly, Nami, like, let's go. And she starts obviously screaming and like warns him, like, you know, everywhere's falling apart. Like, we can still see the castle is like in ruins, like this half that had like exploded. But they are all kind of discussing like, oh well, you woke up in here, Usopp. Like I was on the other side of town. And then Zoro's like, oh well, yeah, I heard like weird noises and found this idiot, you know, beating up a big rabbit. And then Luffy is very honest in this situation. He like looks to Usopp and goes, you could have taken that cat, right, Usopp? Like, he's questioning him, like, are you really, like, not as strong? Like, what's going on? Like, what happened, my guy? And he's like, whoa, 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 look, like, I woke up in his mouth. Like, I was totally at a loss. I was freaking out. I lost my cool. Usopp could have dealt with it if he had the chance to. But now that he's, like, dusted off, he seems like injuries are nothing. He wakes up and he's kind of like, right, we definitely are in the attire of Elbaf warriors. This is exactly what Elbaf wear. However, there is not a chance that they have human-sized clothes that would fit us. Like, that just doesn't seem possible. So we are talking about the island of giants, and even Nami's like, it's really strange. Like, have we been made bigger? Like, what is happening then? Like, is that how we fit into these clothes? Which is a possibility. Not the correct one, but it's certainly a good possibility. But Nami's investigating the nearby trees. Other than the giant Yggdrasil in the background, the other like foliage are also made of Lego bricks. So she's like, these trees are definitely fake. They're like something weird's going on. And Zora's like, well, there was just a town not far from here, like with people. So why don't we just go and talk to them and see what's going on? This place is like way too big. Like, we have no idea which way to look for the seers because our priority is to meet back up with everyone. Like, you never split the party. So Luffy as captain is like, right, let's head to town. We've got to be off. And Sanji again kicks in just a really weird way, and it's like, yeah, no, the others definitely aren't around here. I'm confident. And they're like, how do you know that? And he's like, well, my radar's not picking Robin up, obviously. So come on, guys, like, anyone else? And Robin is just like, well, Nami's like, what? But they begin their trek down the road, and it is time for adventure. We see the four boys here are like ecstatic, like they're bouncing, singing on their merry way down the yellow brick road, and Nami's still like the reserved one, being like, why are you so amped? Like, this place is so weird. There isn't even wind. Like, it's really eerie. So this place is just like stagnant. Like, it is all this fake scenery and there's no wind. So as they begin to make their way, we have a figure on board, some like creature like bounding towards the group. And as they get close, it is revealed to be this old Viking biker dude sat atop a grasshopper, like as his motorcycle, which is really weird. And he's like, oh, you must be the newcomers, I can tell already. And Sanji and Nami immediately freak out from a bug. So I didn't know Sanji was a big like hater of bugs. But they begin to like rattle off questions like, where are we? What's this place? Who are you? Like, do you know where our other crewmates are? And he's like, whoa. It's a lot of questions. Apologies. I'm in a bit of a rush, I would love to stay and chat, but I need to go check on the castle. It's my job to help maintain the castle. But just remember, everything you see belongs to the sun god. So again, what is it with these gods? And he's like, yeah, this is the whole like valley of gods. Like, Big Steiny Castle that I look after is the domain of, the great Iskat. And they're like, wait, someone actually lives there? And he's like, oh, no, it's a cat. A cat lives there, And then Luffy's like, oh, bad. We kind of whooped that. And then Usopp immediately covers his mouth as he's explaining like this land of gods. And we see all the Straw Hats are like holding the lips down, and like Zoro and Sanji are like whistling away, like looking the other way. And he's like, right, I really must be off, The god must be starving by now. It's time for defeating. There's been an uproar recently, like the ear god had like been burned down. Like it's quite terrifying. That's what really delayed me. There's so much happening. But if you guys are hungry, there's fodder, there's food rations back in town. So by all means, help yourself. But I must warn you. And he gives this really stern look. He's like, do not follow this road. Okay? The rabid guardians protect the sun god's temple beyond that point. No one has ever ventured past there and returned to tell the tale. So in this really serious moment, there's just half a shot of Nami going, no, that word, no. And then even before she can finish, Luffy goes, and his the dude heard that this road was meant to be this dangerous place that no one's ever ventured down, no one's ever survived, and within a second, the whole group is like, "Oh, like Luffy is gone, he is off," and they're like, "Oh, god damn it!" So Usopp's like thanking him. Nami gives him a little wink just to like flirt with him, but they all rush off after Luffy, and Zoro is the same. He's like, "Ooh, Rabbit Guardians, eh? Ooh," he's getting like worked up, and Sanji's like, "You are just an enabler for Luffy at this point. Like, it is, you are just as bad as him. Like, do you ever think this through?" So we like to see that they're all very pumped at this moment, but we do get a final shot of our old biker dude reaching the castle and being like, "The hell's happened here? Like, why is it a mess?" So we pick up with Luffy in full sprint mode. Like, this place reeks of adventure. He is in full just enjoyment, and he's running, and the rest are like struggling to catch up, trying to run down this road, and they're getting to a point where they're like, "There's no buildings around. Like, this road is freaky long. Like, why does it keep going?" There's a castle in the distance that, it doesn't look like the other ones. Like, it's kind of out of place, but we can't really see much else. And this is when, like, Luffy, at his perspective, is like, "Oh no, look, there's actually someone running towards us in Elbaf gear. Like, we can see like the smoke coming from them." And he's like, "Oh, it's fine, whatever. I'll just dodge out the way." And as it closes the distance, Luffy face plants a mirror, like full face. Oof, that must hurt. And shatters all the glass in front of him. And there is like a giant shockwave on like the horizon. And everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why is the sky falling? What is happening?" And we see Luffy like recoil from his own headbutt. And we see like everyone freaking out. And then the glass shatters and reveals another room outside. We see a shot of a giant room. Like, it looks to be full of building blocks, full of Lego, like tailor benches and like all these like decorations. And all the straw hats like get to like this door we see behind like a grate. And they're like, this is unbelievable. Like, we're actually inside a giant room, but we're in like a sort of like glass cabinet. Like, we're on display or something. Like, we can see everything in the room, and we're clearly like fenced in. Like, there's a gate here, like a door. So as they like look around, there's a voice from the bench, and it's like, "Guys, is that you? Help!" And we see that they break through part of the doorway, like through the grate, and we see Chopper on the bench, like in tears, like thanking everyone for saving him. And he like gets a hug off Nami, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll charge you for this hug when we're done. Like, it's fine." And Usopp's like, "Wait, you were just scared earlier. Like, why are you being so mean?" But we can see them starting to like sort of investigate the room at this point. And Usopp is like, this person, this sun god, is a really good craftsman. Like, the skill they've got of like building all this stuff or tailoring the outfits is quite impressive. And like Chopper's explaining, he had like a collar around him that was like made of steel, and he just couldn't get it off, and he thought he was going to die. But he was safe, and for some reason he was outside the room, which we'll get to in a second. But they come to the conclusion this is definitely a giant's room. Whoever it is has definitely been tailor making these clothes and is like dressing us up as dolls, which is kind of weird. And Luffy's like up looking at the blocks, and it's like, "Yeah, there's a ton of blocks here. Like, that whole country is just made of these blocks." And Sanji's like, "Well, that explains the smell we were having, because we grilled the rabbit but it was the plastic that was burning which led to that smell. And he's like, look back at like the whole place, and we get a shot of them looking back through the glass, and they're like, oh, we can see through that way. It's a one-way mirror that lets whoever's on this side look across the entire country that they've built. And he's like, the view is like never ending. Like they can't even see the other side. They're like, this magic mirror is like weird. And we see a moment where Sanji again is like, Nami, I'm gonna volunteer to clear the ladies' room at the Shipley, and then just gets like drop kicked by Nami. But we can see Zoro is like, you know, whoever is doing this has got some real sick hobby. Like, giant or not, like watching the animals and the people being trapped in this block world. Like, this must be some real sadist. And Luffy just doesn't care and is like, but what we're finding out is, guys, we are definitely on Elbaf right then. We can come to that conclusion. Like, there are real giants around here. Like, heck yeah. But the rest of them are kind of freaking out. Like, look, like, we can't be sure. We need to make sure we kind of stick together now. Like, if this really is a giant island we're on and we've somehow got here, like, we really should escape. We really need to find the others. We can't let this giant, this sun god, come back because it's too dangerous. Like, we can't get ahead of ourselves. And Usopp is like, right, why don't we head back inside and we get the townsfolk and we ask them some more information to figure out what is going on, because it all seems still a bit too weird. And he's like, I think it's better to face that risk than a confrontation with a giant. So it's probably easier to talk to these people and deal with them than it is a giant that we don't know anything about. And he's like, are we all good? Luffy, are you listening? And Luffy's like, yeah, just 1 second. I'm just going to blow this guy away. And we cut to Luffy facing off against a giant snake. Just appeared in the room, like curled up from somewhere, and everyone freaks out. The scaredy cat trio screaming, and he's like full punch on this snake. And Nami looks over the bench and sees like 3 rats are like lined up, and then like a giant like crow appears from like the rafters, and it is obviously these rabid temple guardians that are coming down and descending upon the Straw Hats. And it's like, oh, Luffy's like, I'm still full of rabbit, you know. I'll just send these guys flying and we can carry on. But there's a moment where we leave the room and there is footsteps outside of a figure fully cloaked walking down this like cobbled old hallway. And the only way I can describe what this person looks like is like a lesson of Witcher. Like the deer skull mask, this like faired long cloak. They are wielding a long staff with like a sun symbol at the top, and they've got a shield on the back. And as they get closer to this wooden door, they start to hear the Straw Hat voices, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, we need to finish these guys off before the Sun God returns. You know, Luffy, you're getting overkill now. Like, what's going on? You know, that's a fireplace, you know? And then as this person gets to the door, there's like flames underneath the door, like lapping up, and they swing the door open and freak out at their beloved temple is in full chaos. There's like flame, like engulfing everything. The snake, the crow, like everything's on fire, and all we can see is like Zoro stood on like the edge of the table that's kind of like slanted, and then Gear 5 Luffy just kind of like laughing through the air. So full chaos has erupted. Usopp is the first to catch, you know, Sniper's got to be trained, first to catch the doors open. This sun god figure has entered, and they are massive. They are like, in comparison to them, they are giant. So there's big dudes here. These are all their normal, well, small size. And they're like, Luffy, this is bad. That's the sun god. We need to run. We need to get back inside and like just go. And we see that Zoro cuts down the crow in the air, and the figure shouts Mugen to deal like a name at the crow. So obviously Oda here has done Hugin and Moonin and squished it together. So Odin's ravens, this crow gets a joint Hugin name or Mugen name, which is kind of cool. So this figure definitely is inspired by Norse mythology, having Odin's ravens as one crow. And we see Luffy deals a booming dawn with pistol single punch at the snake, and the figure calls it Hjolmungunda, which obviously then is a reference to Jormungandr, the whale serpent. So we're getting little references, but clearly these are just regular animals that this dude has named in inspiration from Norse mythology. But the straw hats make it back into the display case, the like glass they had shattered, and they're like this is seriously messed up. Like, what's going on? And the cat is like blocking their way, and just whoever does it, I don't know, but immediately gets like attacked, and like settles, and Chopper's like, look, sorry my guy, but we kind of need you. And he explains, the cat's saying we're going to pay for this later, and it's like, it doesn't matter, we just need to leave. So on board the cat, they begin to race back through the block settlement. And Nami explains, I was kind of looking for treasure, couldn't find any, but I found this instead. It is a blueprint, a map of this block country. And they're like, oh, like, we can find our way out from this. Like, this is great. Like, we'll just keep going straight to the other side, and we'll smash through whatever walls there. Like, that's fine by me. And we see the sun god figure has become so enraged. The shield's out. They are like towering over, and it looks like they have like entered into this world. They're like above the straw hats, and they're like, how dare you defile my beloved country? I will not let you escape. You will pay for this. And we see the other villagers who like live here are like freaking out, like, oh no, the sun god is furious, like, we're in trouble. And that is where the chapter ends. No break next week, so that's going to be good. But clearly now, they are not under a hallucination. They have not been giantified. The only thing that might be a case is they have been shrunk. So whether this is, or whether it was a giant room, and they are their normal regular size, and this dude is some messed up giant who had somehow transported the Sunny and all the Straw Hats who are currently here from the sea to his model display case room. That we'll need an explanation for that, because who's done that, we don't know. But this figure is clearly overseeing this like mini village project in his room that is behind a glass display case. Been building this town, the Yggdrasil. He has Mugen and Jormungandr as like guardian deities, and he's got all these other gods, like these animals who are in quite normal, like big size, but everyone else is small. So what he's trying to do, we don't yet know his idea, but clearly he was doing some sort of weird project, and the Straw Hats have come in and within 10 minutes have already destroyed it. So I'll be interested to see what they find on the other side of the room. But this figure doesn't look happy. It's definitely a person under the mask. We can see like an eye as like the final shot of the panel, but who knows? I don't think this is Loki. I think this is somebody else, and this could be a case of they're on like one side of the island and Robin, Jinbei, Frankie and Brooke are going to be on the other, and it's like trying to meet back up again. But clearly they've been pulled into some sort of toy world that they have been like thrown into, and then they've broke out immediately. But nevertheless, I digress. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Let me know what you thought of this chapter. Where do you think this is going? And I will catch you guys next time.